The 48 Laws of Power is a book written by Robert Greene that examines the ways in which people have historically sought and maintained power. Some of the most important laws outlined in the book include: Rule number 1 of the 48 Laws of Power is never outshine the master. This means that it is important to always remember your place in a hierarchy and to never try to outdo or surpass those in positions of authority over you. It is important to always be aware of the power dynamics in any situation and to never try to take the spotlight or attention away from those who hold more power than you. This law is particularly relevant in the workplace, where it is important to show respect for your superiors and to never try to steal their thunder or take credit for their work. It is also important to remember that, while it may be tempting to try to stand out and impress those in positions of power, it is ultimately safer and more advantageous to remain in a supportive role and let the master shine. However, this does not mean that you should shy away from taking initiative or making your own contributions. It is important to find a balance and to be confident in your own abilities, but to also be mindful of the power dynamics at play and to avoid overstepping your bounds. By following the first law of power, you can navigate any situation with grace and poise, while still making your own mark and rising to the top. Rule number 2 from the 48 Laws of Power is never put too much trust in friends, learn how to use enemies. This law advises that it is important to be cautious about who you trust and to always be aware of potential threats, even from those who may appear to be allies. It is important to keep your guard up and not be too reliant on others, as friendships can be fickle and people's loyalty can change. One way to use this law to your advantage is to be strategic in your relationships and alliances. Don't blindly trust those around you, but rather, evaluate the potential benefits and risks of each relationship. It is also important to be aware of those who may be envious or resentful of your success, and to use this knowledge to your advantage. By being cautious and aware of potential threats, you can protect yourself and ultimately come out on top. Rule number 3 in the 48 Laws of Power is conceal your intentions. This means that it is important to keep your true intentions hidden from others, especially your enemies or those who may be working against you. By concealing your intentions, you can catch others off guard and gain an advantage over them. This law also advises against revealing too much about yourself or your plans, as this can make you vulnerable to manipulation or attack. It is important to be strategic and calculated in your actions, rather than being transparent and open about your intentions. This can help you achieve your goals more effectively and protect yourself from those who may try to oppose you. Rule number 4 of the 48 Laws of Power is called Always Say Less Than Necessary. This law suggests that in any situation, it is better to say less and reveal less about yourself. By speaking less and keeping your thoughts and opinions to yourself, you maintain an air of mystery and intrigue, and you leave people wanting more. In today's world of social media and oversharing, it can be tempting to share every aspect of our lives and opinions with the world. However, this can often backfire and make us seem overly eager or desperate for attention. By following this law, you can come across as more confident and in control, as you are not trying to prove yourself or seek validation from others. It's important to remember that not everything needs to be shared or broadcasted to the world. By keeping some things to yourself, you can preserve your power and influence in any situation. So next time you're tempted to say more than necessary, remember this law and try to keep some things to yourself. Rule number 4 of the 48 Laws of Power is always say less than necessary. This law is about the power of words and the importance of being concise and to the point. It's about understanding that the less you say, the more weight your words will carry. In today's fast-paced world, people have short attention spans and are bombarded with information from all angles. By saying less than necessary, you can cut through the noise and make a greater impact. It's about choosing your words carefully and only speaking when you have something valuable to add. This law is also about the power of mystery. By saying less, you leave room for people to fill in the gaps and wonder about what you're thinking. This can create a sense of intrigue and make you more interesting and mysterious. So, the next time you're tempted to speak just for the sake of speaking, remember rule number 4 and think twice before opening your mouth. Choose your words carefully and always say less than necessary. Rule number 5 of the 48 Laws of Power is reputation is the cornerstone of power. In other words, your reputation is the foundation upon which your influence is built. People are more likely to follow someone who has a good reputation, and a good reputation can open doors and create opportunities that might not have been available to you otherwise. It's important to be mindful of your reputation at all times and to actively work to maintain and enhance it. This can involve things like being honest, reliable, and consistent in your actions, and making sure to keep your word. It also involves being aware of how others perceive you and taking steps to correct any negative perceptions. Ultimately, your reputation is something that you have control over. By being mindful of it and actively working to build and maintain a positive reputation, you can greatly increase your power and influence in any situation. Rule number 6 of the 48 laws of power is court attention at all cost. In other words, it's essential to always be noticed and remembered by those around you. This can be accomplished through various means, such as making a memorable first impression, showcasing your unique skills and talents, or simply standing out from the crowd in some way. But it's important to be strategic about how you seek attention. While it's okay to be bold and assertive at times, it's also important to be mindful of how your actions and words may be perceived by others. If you're constantly seeking attention in inappropriate or self-serving ways, you may end up alienating those around you and ultimately damaging your reputation. So, if you want to court attention at all cost, it's crucial to strike a balance between being assertive and mindful of others. Showcase your strengths and unique qualities in a way that captures the attention of those around you, but also be respectful and considerate of their needs and feelings. By doing so, you can effectively court attention and establish yourself as a powerful and influential figure in any situation. Rule number 7 of power, according to the 48 laws of power, is get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. This rule suggests that in order to maintain your power and influence, it is important to delegate tasks and responsibilities to others, while still taking credit for the successes that result. One way to implement this rule is to identify individuals or groups who are willing and able to work for you, and to give them tasks and projects that align with their skills and interests. By doing so, you can tap into the expertise and energy of others, while still maintaining control over the direction and outcomes of your endeavors. However, it is important to be careful when implementing this rule, as taking too much credit for the work of others can lead to resentment and backlash. It is crucial to strike a balance between acknowledging the contributions of others and ensuring that you are seen as the driving force behind your successes. Rule number 8 in the 48 laws of power is get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. In order to effectively implement this law, it's important to understand the value of delegation. As a leader or powerful figure, it's tempting to try to do everything yourself in order to maintain control and ensure that things are done to your standards. However, this can be exhausting and ultimately unsustainable. By learning how to delegate tasks and responsibilities to others, you can free up your own time and energy to focus on more important matters. But it's important to remember that while you may be delegating the work, you should always take the credit for it. This can be achieved through effective communication and showcasing your own skills and expertise. By taking the credit, you demonstrate to others that you are the one in charge and that you have the power and influence to make things happen. In order to make this law work for you, it's important to be strategic in your delegation. Choose tasks and responsibilities that align with the strengths and skills of your team members, and be sure to clearly communicate your expectations and goals. By doing so, you can ensure that the work is done to the highest standards, while also maintaining your own reputation and power. Rule number 9 of the 48 laws of power is win through your actions, never through argument. In other words, it's better to let your actions speak for themselves rather than trying to win others over through verbal persuasion. This law advises that it's more effective to let your actions demonstrate your abilities and worth rather than trying to argue or convince others with words. It's important to remember that people are more likely to believe what they see rather than what they hear. So, if you want to win others over, it's better to let your actions do the talking. This way, you'll not only earn respect and admiration, but you'll also be seen as a more credible and trustworthy person. Rule number 10 of the 48 laws of power is infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. This law suggests that we should avoid those who are unhappy or unlucky, as their negative energy can be contagious. This is especially important when it comes to our personal relationships and our professional careers. In order to succeed, we must surround ourselves with positivity and with people who are successful and happy. By doing this, we can avoid becoming infected by the negativity of others and instead focus on our own goals and accomplishments. So the next time you are considering forming a new relationship or taking on a new project, be mindful of the people you are associating with. If you feel like their negativity is rubbing off on you, it might be time to distance yourself and focus on more positive influences. Remember, the company we keep can have a huge impact on our own happiness and success. So choose wisely.